Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Kathy.
It's
How
nice
are
to have you
you?
back again. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Um, I have a few questions for you today, and we especially want to talk about your templates because you've got a special on your templates right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are an attorney, and first of all, for everybody that's listening, Lisa's been on our podcast a lot of times, and anybody that's an Inner Circle member, we probably have 7 or 8 videos of. So this isn't our first time meeting and interviewing, but we always have a good time. We always have a lot to talk about. So, but I don't know if we've ever talked about this. You were an attorney for a while, and then
Yep.
you became a health coach.
Yeah.
And then you became an attorney to health coaches, and
Right.
you still a health coach, right?
Yes, I'm still an attorney.
Yeah. So how did you
Exactly.
combine those two things and why?
Yeah, I'm glad you're asking about this because I get asked all the time. So what happened was when way back when I was like in high school, my friend and I participated in a mock trial and we won our case as high school students that we argued in the Ohio Supreme Court. It was such a cool moment that I was like, I might be able to do this attorney thing. So I ended up majoring in political science, and then I went to law school at one of the top health law programs in the country. So my interest has always been around health and wellness, but I decided to pursue it at the time from a legal side. So I got a job in a big corporate law firm, just like you're supposed to do when you get out of law school. And I worked in the health law department of a large firm in Ohio where we worked with hospitals and licensed medical practitioners and licensure and all the things other than malpractice that go into running a hospital or a medical practice. And I got great training, but Kathy, just like people who work in big corporations or big companies, it just sort of snuffs the life out of you after a while because all you do is work. So I left, and along the way, while I had been practicing, I became a life coach through Coach U way back in the year 2000. So, like 25 years ago, when people were like, "What's a life coach?" But I didn't really do anything with it because people didn't really know what it was. It was so early. I felt kind of weird and trying to explain to people what it was. So after a while, after I had left the law firm and really was living on caffeine and M&Ms and junk food and garbage when I was working at the law firm, I was like, I have these sugar cravings that I've never really been able to put my hands around. So I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition back in 2011 and became a health coach in 2012 and started hanging out my shingle as a health coach. And I was very grateful. I think because I had that life coach training, a lot of health coaches actually hired me to help coach them around how to build their coaching practice, not in any major way like you do, Kathy, but just to kind of help them, like, how do I talk to my husband about actually creating a health coaching practice and carving out time for my own business? So I did the health coaching thing for a good solid year, and I had 100 clients, which was amazing. And I gave 72 paid corporate wellness seminars, which was amazing. And I was starting to really build a practice. But then so many health coach friends were saying, Lisa, here's the thing though. We try to talk to our family lawyer about coaching and they have no idea what we're talking about. Or we tell them we want to run a cleanse or we want to, use create an online course and they don't know what we're talking about. So it took me a minute because I wasn't really excited about initially returning to law. It took me a second. And then I realized that I actually did have this gift of uniquely being able to understand coaching and licensure and medical laws and nutrition laws. So I kind of pulled it all together back in June of 2012. And that's when I hung out my shingle, calling myself a legal coach and attorney. Um, and I kept my health coach practice going for a while, but it found it was really hard to do both in any significant way. And my legal practice just started taking off. So I shifted and I now do legal coaching and attorney work through Lisa Fraley Legal Coach LLC. And that's where I've been since about 2012.
Yeah, and that's a while. Um, most people think of attorneys as being argumentative, because you're thinking litigation,
Of
but
course.
really, there's a lot. You call it legal love.
Legal love, yes.
And the thing that I found most valuable about attorneys are that they bring you together on something
Mm.
instead of tearing you apart. And you
Oh,
have a lot of things where you talk
that's
about,
good.
having clear understandings. And
Yeah, I'm glad you're mentioning that, Cathy, because of course in law school they do teach you how to be argumentative, but they also teach you how to look at everything from every side. And what I found is that I'm not drawn to the argumentative work. Believe me, if you want to have a lovely little legal argument, we can do that anytime. But what I love to do is help people build their businesses and get clear legal clarity about the work that they're doing. And like you said, I do like to bring sort of love into the legal process and make it not as scary and overwhelming and intimidating. Because law is really there to help be supportive to you growing your business. And I love how you described it as pulling things together, not trying to push things apart. So the whole purpose of law, I think, for health coaches is to help give you support and clarity so that you can grow your business and not feel afraid, because you know the law sort of has your back. You know your legal documents have your back. You know that you're doing things properly and clearly. You're staying in your scope of practice. You're not getting into the practice of medicine, and you're able to move forward like with peace of mind because you understand what you're allowed to say and not say and what you can do and not do, and you can just go forward and grow, obviously using all the tools that you teach people so beautifully, Cathy, so that it's a nice way to support the work that you're doing rather than be something to be afraid of.
what are some of the most common legal mistakes that you see health coaches
Mm,
make or practitioners
yeah.
online?
Yeah. So there are a couple that come to mind, and that the first is that for newer health coaches, I think they think that, oh, I'm too early for this. I only have a couple of clients. I don't really need any of this stuff. And the law feels scary. And I'm building a warm relationship with my client. I don't want to be like, here's some cold legal document to sign. And that's very common because it can feel uncomfortable at the beginning when you're not used to just providing a contract as your ordinary course of doing business. It can feel a little uncomfortable until you realize that the purpose of a client agreement, for example, is to really just make sure you both are on the same page, that you are both clear about what you're going to provide as the coach, what your expectations are of them as the client, so they show up and do their best work to give their best selves to you so they can actually have the progress that they're looking for. So I think one of the early mistakes is just thinking that you're too soon in the game, but actually the sooner that you get your insurance in place and your legal documents in place and you're making sure you're clear on your accounting and taxes, the better off you are because you're positioning yourself early to go forward and not make mistakes and have to backtrack. So that's the first thing. The second, I would say, mistake that I see often is people really getting confused about what the actual scope of practice is for a health coach versus a licensed medical practitioner. So I always like to offer that health coaches want to remember that our job, of course, is to help people move towards optimal health, to help them remove the blocks in the way of the goals that they're trying to accomplish for their health and wellness, and to move towards whatever goal they have, and not the things that we don't want to do. We don't want to say these things and we don't want to do these things. We don't want to diagnose. We don't treat. We don't prevent disease or illness. We don't cure disease or illness. We don't heal disease or illness. And we also don't manage symptoms of any disease, issue, or illness. And the reason for that is because all of that is the practice of medicine. So health coaches, even though we want to niche down into a particular area, we need to choose things like thyroid health instead of Hashimoto's, or heart health instead of hypertension. And there are ways to do that and to still help the people you want to help without representing in any way that you're there to like cure their Hashimoto's or heal their hypertension. That's the second area, is just helping people understand what they can say and can't say and how to stay in their lane so they aren't going to be investigated or put themselves in a position to be investigated for the unlicensed practice of medicine or dietetics. That's another area too.
If there was one legal document that a new health coach had, what should it be? What should be the first one? I'm not going to narrow you down so that there's
No,
only,
no, I'm
but just
glad you're asking.
the first one.
Yeah. So usually, some of it will depend on what you're doing and how you're doing it, but most health coaches want to come out of the gate working one-on-one with a client, right? So for most health coaches, the legal document you want to use is the client agreement for your one-on-one coaching, because this is the document that will lay out what's in your program, what the price is and the investment for the program, if people pay by installment or pay in full, your refund policy, which is super important and a lot of people don't have in their client agreement. It also, you want it to have language in there protecting your intellectual property and saying that the content in the program can't be used by the client for any reason other than their own personal use. You want to make sure that it has your medical disclaimer in there saying that you're not practicing medicine or psychology or psychiatry or mental health or any other type of licensed profession, that you're really just there to give information and education to the client so they can move forward and take small steps to improve their health and wellness. And then it has other things in it you need as well. So I always tell people you want your client agreement to have like 5 or 6 pages. You don't want it to be like 2 pages. Probably not enough, but you also don't need it to be like 10 pages, right? You need to find that healthy balance where you have enough legal language there to actually protect you and then it's not vague. So be sure you have a lawyer look at your legal document who has knowledge about health coaching, and that will help you. Please do not rely on what AI gives you for anything legal yet. It's not correct. They found 66 to 80% of the time it's not correct, depending on what aspects of law you're looking at. And that's scary. That's scary because we think AI knows everything.
What they're missing, right?
Right. But AI is just pulling from what's on the internet out there. And a lot of what's on the internet out there is not right. So for any profession that requires a license, we just can't rely on AI yet, other than to do some general research and ask some general questions. So please be sure you are having a lawyer look at your document, even if you've gotten it from your coach, you've gotten it from a training program. Their intentions are really good to help you get started legally, but you need to make sure it's right for your practice, the state that you're in, what you're allowed to do in your state and not allowed to do in your state, and the programs that you have. You just want to make sure you have it reviewed by a lawyer who understands what you do. That would be my best advice to you for that.
You have the templates. If they do the templates, are they okay, or should they have a local attorney review those too?
Yeah, if you're using my DIY legal templates, which Cathy is referencing, that she is a lovely and wonderful affiliate for, the templates are written for health coaches already with the information in it that you need for health coaching. Okay, so it's always wise to have them reviewed by an attorney in your state, but I will say that they are written already with the language in it that you need for health coaching. Obviously, I'm not licensed in every state, so it's a wise practice to have a local lawyer look at it. But remember that the way I write legal templates and legal documents is the way that most coaches like the language to be. So it's legally protective, but it's more casual language. Like we say, I, the coach, and you. We don't say the client and the coach. And like, we try to make it more friendly language, softer language, so that coaches feel comfortable giving it to a client. It's not so formal and yucky, quite frankly. We want it to be a little bit more relaxed. So traditional lawyers sometimes wonder why the language is relaxed, even though it's equally as protective as more formal language, but it's just to be more approachable. That's part of my philosophy. And I think it's also what I found coaches over the past 13 years appreciate, is that the language doesn't feel stuffy and scary.
There's more authenticity to it.
Yeah, thank you. That's a nice way to say that, Cathy. Yeah, thank you. That's right.
Okay, so I ran into this problem with somebody. It was a non-disclosure agreement. I just asked them this quick one, because they were getting information, by going into our platform and they were able to see everything. So in order to do that, I required a non-disclosure agreement. And you know what they said? They came back and they said, "Oh, why are you asking for that? We're just going to take us longer. We'll have to go to an attorney to review it." What do you say to something like that? Well,
I'm going to have some strong opinions about that. I think that's ridiculous because anytime, and that's a great point. People ask, when should you use a non-disclosure agreement versus a client agreement or an independent contractor agreement? So Cathy did that perfectly, just for everyone listening. When you are sharing your intellectual property, and what is intellectual property? It's anything that you've created that you are the original owner of, that's from your brain and your creative and expertise. And if someone is not a client already and you want to share this information, like Cathy was saying, she needed someone to come in and look at their platform for a particular reason, and that's all of her intellectual property, you should have a non-disclosure agreement. And what a non-disclosure agreement says is basically that, hi, you can access my content that I have created, but you cannot take or copy or swipe it and use it in your business. This is my intellectual property. I'm allowing you to come in and take a look at it, but I'm not giving you any ownership rights, and you can't take it and use it. I'm not giving you any use rights either. So NDAs are used for people who are not your clients or your contractors. So it's like before you hire someone to be part of your team, or before you work with a client potentially, or maybe you have a contractor coming in to look at your website or do something, then you might have them sign that NDA. Client agreements are used for paying clients who you're working with one-on-one. And then independent contractor agreements are usually used when you're hiring team members. And I have all different types of independent contractor agreements if you're hiring a virtual assistant or a website designer, a graphic designer, et cetera. So some of those will vary, but the NDA, Cathy, you did that perfectly. And if they're saying, well, now I have to have a lawyer look at this, that's their choice. I mean, they should have a lawyer look at it, but they also can look at it themselves and make a decision that's right for them. But just because someone tells you that they're bummed out that you're giving them a legal document does not mean that you should bend to that in any way, because you have the responsibility to protect your own content. And if they don't like that, well, that's too bad, because it's your content and you're protecting it. So and most businesses, if you're doing business to business work, they understand that legal documents are a part of doing business, but sometimes it does catch people off guard, like perhaps it did with the person you were talking to, but you should still protect your work all the time, for sure.
Well, yeah, and a lot of times like if you're not working one-on-one coaching, something like that, you're working with an employee of somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
there you may be working with somebody that's, 18 years old and this is their first job and they don't understand the importance of it.
True.
So maybe it's not just the fact that they don't want to sign something saying that they're not going to steal your intellectual.
That's true. And that's right. And there's so many different circumstances, but please I guess the point is, don't let someone else's response to your, like, oh, you're making me sign a legal document. Oh, you're making me look at a legal document. Oh, now I have to have this reviewed. Don't let that stop you from protecting and honoring your work and your income and your knowledge and your intellectual property, because they can react however they choose. That's fine, but you still want to protect your work. So yeah.
Right.
Well said.
How can we stay clear on what is health coaching versus what is medical advice?
Yeah, this is one of the most difficult areas for coaches. And that's why I created the Protect Your Practice program, to help people kind of understand the differences. But I think the easiest way to remember is that coaches do not deal with medical diseases, conditions, or issues, like period, end of sentences, right? We do not help people diagnose, treat, prevent, cure, heal any medical disease, condition, issue, or symptom. We are not there to focus on what's wrong, okay? That's what doctors do. We are there to take the person where they are and help them accomplish their goal going forward. And their goal is improved health and wellness. So even if you are someone who is like, loves talking about Hashimoto's, as a coach, you don't want to be like, you can say, are you someone who's living with Hashimoto's? I can help you with your health and wellness to improve your health by taking small steps and looking at what you're eating and looking at your lifestyle and looking at your supplements. Depending on the state that you're in, you're allowed to do certain things. But the idea is that you're not there to help them manage or heal their Hashimoto's. They need to work with their doctor around that, and you need to tell them to work with their doctor around that. But you can support them in their thyroid health and help them detoxify their body, reduce inflammation, change what they're eating, look at their lifestyle, focus on their supplements. You do need to know what state you're in. Some states are still about 13 or 14 states where you still have a hard time working one-on-one with people because of the restrictive nutrition laws. But in most states, most people can help people revise what they're eating and what they're doing to go forward in a one-on-one capacity. But just remember, our job is not to manage or heal disease, even though I know you might want to. You can't do that legally. Your job is to help take them where they are and get them healthier. get them moving towards a healthier lifestyle. And that's how you stay out of the lane of medicine. If you start saying, I help you in my Hashimoto's program, that's when you're putting yourself at risk and getting into the practice of medicine. So if you have questions, you can always reach out to me or to my team. We're happy to help you. We do website audits and we do legal chats and we have all our legal templates to help you. But don't guess, because that's the part where you can get in trouble. Is please just give yourself the gift of having peace of mind, knowing that you're saying things and doing things properly, and then you can go forward. And that's the safest thing that you can do.
You know what? I like the term lifestyle management. That kind of
Yeah,
keeps you out of healing and into
that's
the
right.
things that you can talk about.
That's right. See, Cathy knows all this, you all too. Cathy obviously has been doing this a long time, and Cathy clearly understands the difference too between medicine and coaching. I appreciate you always bring me in as a legal expert, but Cathy also has a lot of knowledge that you can tap into as well. And then just reach out on the legal side if you need help with more complex questions or things that I could help you with going forward.
How does having a strong legal foundation give a coach more freedom and confidence?
Ooh, so whenever you feel safe, you feel more courageous to expand. And one of the ways you feel safe is that you know you have your legal documents in place for your client agreement, your website documents, your mini disclaimers, your terms that you might use for a group program or your hybrid program if you're doing coaching plus group program in the same package. I mean, when you have your LLC and your trademark, you don't need to do all these at once. Okay. We just go one step at a time as you grow and expand your business. But when you put this type of legal foundation in place, it allows your nervous system to relax. It allows you to know that you're not going to be getting into trouble because you're very clear about what you're allowed to say and not say. You're clear about the legal documents you have in place that you can just use with ease. And that's why we've created over 50 do-it-yourself legal templates for health coaches and licensed medical practitioners so that you don't have to worry about having a local lawyer write things for you and they don't understand what you're doing. Like, we've tried to make it easy for you so you can just put what you need in place, use all the payment plans. It's not super expensive. Get it in place, and then you can relax and go forward and share all these amazing programs that Cathy has for you and not worry or stress as you're doing that. So the legal foundation is your safety and your security so that you can grow and expand.
Okay, how does having a clear agreement with the customer build trust?
Cathy, you always ask the best questions. So, okay, here's part of the way it builds trust, because anytime that we have clarity, we increase our trust. When we have transparency, authenticity, clarity, it builds trust. You're not hiding anything. You're not hiding your policies. You can lay out in the client agreement, here's what's included in your program. This is what you receive from me. Here's how much it costs. Here's what happens if you have to cancel a call. Here's what happens if you have to reschedule a call. Here's what happens if we have a conflict. Here's what happens around my policies for my intellectual property. So this is what you are allowed to do with the content in this program. This is what you're not allowed to do with the content in this program. Anytime you can lay out all of these policies in writing in one place, especially at the start of your relationship with your client, you both are on the same page. And when you're on the same page and everything's in writing and everything's clear, then you both know what to expect and you both trust more because no one's hiding anything. It's a very transparent relationship and actually gives clients comfort, believe it or not, to have a client agreement. It's a gift to both of you because now if someone misses a call, you can very easily remind them, oh, remember in our client agreement, we said if you miss a call, here's what happens. You can reschedule within 7 days or reschedule before your next call, or maybe you forfeit the call. Whatever your policy is fine, but it's spelled out so there's no question about what might happen in the case of any particular circumstance. So clarity builds trust for sure.
And there's one of the benefits to you being a health coach and a legal expert.
All right.
Yeah, you can explain that connection.
Yes.
I have a funny story. When we first started out, we had a 24-hour return period, and we said than everybody else because nobody else returns it. Well, I was starting to notice that people got anxious if all they had was 24 hours to
Oh,
check
interesting.
out. So I took away the 24-hour guarantee
Oh,
and just said there you need to ask all your questions ahead of time so that you're
oh,
sure and there is no return
oh,
or guarantee. And you know
that's
that
great.
people are more comfortable buying this way because they ask all their questions ahead of time. But
And
isn't
isn't that
that
interesting? I bet that was a surprise,
it
right?
was? Yeah.
Yeah. And when you have a program, especially if it's downloadable or accessible at the beginning, or it's not drip, meaning people can access the content all at once, or things like that, it is better to make sure people are clear on the front end and then have a no refund policy so that, like you're saying, they'll ask their questions up front. And sometimes people get nervous not having, especially at the beginning of coaching, I think they get nervous sometimes not having a 24-hour guarantee or a money back guarantee or a look, you get to access this program for 14 days or but the thing is, you all, as Cathy's saying, is that people make a more committed decision when they can ask their questions up front and know that they can't get their money back. And then what I also tell coaches is that if you wish to make an exception to your own policy, no refunds, you like someone has a dire financial situation or their spouse is in the hospital or something loses, they lose their job, like something happens, you can always choose to refund their money if you wish, even if you have a no refund policy, you can choose that. But what I love about a no refund policy is that people can't demand that they get their money back after they've gone through half your program or they've met with you for 6 out of 12 weeks. And then that's not fair to you. You just did all this work and gave them all this value. So having stronger boundaries around your money actually from the start is better, as long as you know and remember that it's a gift to you and your clients and you can make any exception you wish at any time. And that sometimes gives coaches comfort when they're afraid to like have a no refund policy right from the start.
Yeah, that helps to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any changes for practitioners or coaches online coming up that we might
Mm.
anticipate?
Yeah, I think the biggest changes coming up is what our society is dealing with as a whole right now. And I think that's around the use of AI, quite honestly, because AI can be such, and some people really love AI and ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and all the things, tools coming. And some people really don't like AI. They think it's impersonal and it's going to replace jobs. And, it's a wild west right now of AI. So what I try to do is look for the positives in ways that can actually help us right now. And that's, I think, as a research tool to help us do things a little bit faster. It can help us write newsletters. It can help us write social media posts. It can help us, create content. I just created my own Legal Love GPT, Cathy, that's going to be part of my upcoming Protect Your Practice program so that if people have any legal question, that I've already uploaded all of my content into a custom GPT so they can type in their question and get an answer from me. Not an answer from the big AI universe, but from me, just like if they were talking on the phone or paying for a power hour, they could get the answer. So I think that's really helpful for people who want to get an answer at 10 o'clock at night on a Tuesday when they're writing their newsletter or something and wondering what they can say or not say and if that's legal or not. So I like to look at the positive aspects of AI and how it can help us. But I do think as coaches, we also have to remember that the work that you're doing is transformational work with people, and that AI, someone might be able to look at AI and be like, what should I eat for breakfast every day? But they can't get the actual transformation and emotional support and encouragement the same way that you can provide it as a coach. They just can't replace that. They might be able to get some information here or there, but they can't get the transformational experience that they have with you. And so I think in our marketing going forward, that coaches will need to be thinking about how to express the fact that what they're providing is different than what someone could just look up on AI and get from AI in some way. I think we have to remember the value that you have as a coach and express that in a way that clients will understand, that you support them in greater transformation of their lives and their health, not just giving them a few recipes here or there. So I think that'll be a challenge. But thank goodness you all have people like Cathy here to lead you through a lot of this because she is such a marketing expert and can help you with that. And then we're all just going to kind of see how it all unfolds going forward. We are
Mhm.
having our sale, our annual fall sale on our DIY legal templates, and they are 30% off. And they range around, they're around $100 to $400, and then legal starter kits, we bundle documents together and give a discount. So, and there are payment plans, but they are designed specifically for health coaches and for licensed medical practitioners, using the language you need already in the document. So you don't have to add much to it, if anything at all. And we have legal templates from everything from working one-on-one with clients, or offering group programs, or a hybrid program of group plus one-on-one, or an overnight retreats, or day-long seminars, or website documents, or hiring a virtual assistant, or I mean, it just, the list goes on and on. So they're easy to download. You just download it to your computer. You fill in the blanks based on my little notes to guide you in the margin, and then voila, it's like done. And you can save and use it with your clients, or put it on your website, or hire your independent contractors, whatever the case may be, very quickly, 24/7. So that's why I created these documents. So you don't have to hire a local lawyer. So you don't have to try to translate to someone what it is that you do. I've tried to do the heavy lifting for you, so you can protect yourself and your income and your brand with a lot of legal love and ease. So thank
And
you,
it's,
Cathy, for asking.
yeah, you're welcome. It saves thousands of dollars too. You explain some of the things that you have that can help health coaches and save them tons of money.
Absolutely. We always love saving tons of money, myself included. Who doesn't? And also time, saving time. So what I've done is created a whole suite of DIY legal templates. I have over 50 do-it-yourself legal templates. You don't need all of them, but you will need some of them for things like working one-on-one with your clients. You'll use the DIY client agreement, or maybe you have a group program. You'll use the DIY terms of use, or a hybrid program where you offer one-on-one coaching with some group or online together in one program. And that's the DIY client agreement for hybrid programs. Plus, we also have website documents that every website needs, like the website terms and conditions, and the website privacy policy, and the DIY website disclaimer, that are available for you to put into your website. And we have documents for hiring a VA, and for hiring a website designer, and other independent contractors, and overnight retreats, and day-long seminars. There's a whole bunch depending on what you're doing in your practice. And the whole idea, you all, is that they're really easy to download to your computer. Then you fill in just a couple of blanks, and you're going to look at my notes in the margin to kind of guide you along as to what to put where. And then you save the document, and it's there to go when you need it, to put it either on your website, or give to a client, or upload into your platform. The whole idea is that we're trying to make them simple, easy, fast, and protective. And the documents usually range around $97 to $397 per document. We have payment plans. We bundle documents and give discounted rates for some of our packages, like our legal starter kits. So we have all sorts of things that you'll use as you grow and expand in your practice. So we just encourage you to take advantage of that. It will save you time and money from not having to have your local lawyer try to translate what the heck it is you're doing into a legal document. So the DIY legal templates are designed specifically for health coaches and should help you protect yourself as you continue to grow.
That's great.